All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Julie Jean Bassett. This is a free little training on tips and tricks for working with a pendulum. Um, I've been working for a pendulum for a number of years. It's a great beginner's tool. I started using it when I was training to be an animal communicator. Um, and it just helps you to gain confidence. But one of the things that and a pendulum can be anything. You can even use like a necklace with like a charm on it. Um, and we'll go over that in a minute, but you got to make sure that whenever you're using a pendulum that you're well hydrated and well grounded, because you are electrical circuit and it is an extension of you when you're using a pendulum. Now, pendulums come in all shapes and sizes, all different materials. Some are crystal, some are wooden, some are plastic, um, and some like this would probably be a good pendulum because it's a little bit weighted, but not too much so. Um, this would not make a good pendulum because it's very heavy with these two stones in there, and it needs to be a little more symmetrical. This would also not make a good pendulum. And you can tell that by just trying to see how it moves. And it's kind of wonky the way it moves. So I wouldn't use this as a pendulum either. Um, and it doesn't matter the cost. Now, this would probably be a good pendulum because it is more symmetrical and it moves okay. Um, this would also be probably a good pendulum. So I'm just kind of mentally asking it for yes or no. And is rotating to the right with a yes, and rotating to the left with a no. So that would also make a good pendulum. But one of the things about pendulums is they don't always work because you are not working with it for the purpose it was intended. Because I have, like, this is a pendulum that I use for my animal communication and energy healing for the animals. But does it want to work with me for shamanism? No. Do you want to work with me for animal communication? Yes. Do you want to work with me for just general questions? No. So every pendulum has its own unique purpose. This is one I use when I do my shamanism. Do you want to work with me for animal communication? No. Do you want to work with me for just general questions? No. Do you want to work with me for shamanism? Yes. This is the third one I work with routinely. Do you want to work with me for animal communication? No. Do you want to work with me for shamanism? No. Do you want to work with me for just general questions? So I have three pendulums for three different purposes. And it doesn't matter how much the cost. This is a little $5 pendulum that I got when I was in this little gift store in Sedona. And this one wants to work with me for crystal Reiki. You want to work with me for animals, general questions, shamanism, crystal Reiki. So go figure. Um, so it's important that you ask your pendulum if it wants to work with you for a particular purpose. That is one of the keys to being able to work with a pendulum. Um, and like I said, this is a $5 pendulum, and this one that I work with for my animal communication, where did it go? Is the Cadillac of pendulums. I think it cost me like over $300. But this one is unique because it doesn't need to be cleaned or recharged. Um, I do it occasionally just because um, I'm in the habit of doing it, but this one can go for a long time. Now, some pendulums, or some people say that pendulums have you can only ask like 7 questions before you need to recharge it. And you can recharge it by putting it out in the moonlight. You can recharge it by putting it on a selenite slab. Um, you can clean it using sage or Palo Santo. Those are safe for any materials. Um, because you always want to work with a clean pendulum. Um, I will sage and Palo Santo my pendulums before I use them just to make sure they're clear of any previous energy. But there's many ways to clean and clear your pendulum, um, depending on the material. You can put it in salt. You can actually wash it, put it in underwater. Um, but it all depends on the material because you don't want it to get rusty or things like that. So if there is any metal involved, I wouldn't wet it. Some um, materials degrade with salt. So that's why I just like using sage and Palo Santo and putting it on a selenite block for basically cleansing and recharging it. Let's see. So making sure you have the right pendulum, making sure you're hydrated and well grounded first. Then what you want to do is you want to see how it's going to work for you. I'm just going to use this one. So when you first get your pendulum, make sure you clean it and make sure it's cleansed of any energy. And then you want to just kind of hold it, trying to get it to stay still. Um, and I ask it, what is your yes? Sorry. What is your yes? And it's moving clockwise. Sorry about that. Um, and if I ask it for no, it's moving counterclockwise. If I ask it what a maybe is, it's just going up and down. That's the way all of my pendulums work, is clockwise for yes, counterclockwise for no. But some people's yes is just back and forth. Some people's no is side to side. And then some people's maybe is at a diagonal. So it's important for you to check your pendulum before you use it to make sure you understand how it works. If you aren't getting a very good, clear response, you can calibrate it. And this is a yes, and you just spin it the way you want it to go. This is a no. Now I'm spinning it counterclockwise. And this is a maybe. And then give me a yes, give me a no, give me a maybe. And then I always like to check it. So is my name Fred? I'm getting a no. Is my name Julie? I'm getting a yes. So you always want to check it too to make sure you're getting the answers you're expecting. Um, Now, I wouldn't use a pendulum as your sole source because there are times when it might give you the answer you want to hear. Say, I wouldn't use it for investments as a sole source. If you are trying to ask your animal companion something regarding their health, well, sure, you want your animal to be healthy and you want the best outcome, but sometimes you are projecting the answer you want. So for instances like that, I would not use a pendulum, or I would get somebody that's unbiased to check for you. Um, you can also use your body as a pendulum, because I use a pendulum for a lot of things. Like, when you look in the Amazon, you say you want to get a D3 supplement, and there's so many options out there. Use your pendulum. Would this be the best option for me? No. Would this be the best option for me? No. Would this be the best option? Eventually, you'll get a yes. You can also use your body, because what I'll do is I will think of it. I will hold my hands here and just stand up straight and say, okay, would this be the best supplement for me? And you'll feel yourself falling forward for a yes, or falling slightly backward for a no. That's called muscle testing. That is one of many different ways. You can also do it like this, where, a yes holds tight, and for no, it falls apart. Now, I don't like using my hands that way. There's also one where you do this, where you can push, um, and a yes will hold steady, and a no, they'll it'll fall. So if there's resistance, it's a yes, and if it falls, it's a no. Those don't work as well for me, but everyone is different. So check them out and see what works best for you. Um, you can also check dosage, like um, say you need to get, would one pill of D3 work? One 5,000 milligram pill of D3 be sufficient for me? And I'm getting a yes. Would 10,000 units, I'm getting a no. So I know that I need to take 5,000 units of vitamin D3. Would 1,000 units be enough? No. I normally take 5,000 units of D3. D3 is one of the ones that most people, or a lot of people, are deficient in because we don't see enough sun anymore. But you can go through, okay, do I need calcium? Do I need selenium? Do I need potassium? Oh, I need some potassium. Um, do I need manganese? Okay, well, I guess I need to do something for my electrolytes today. So you can use a pendulum for a lot of different things. Um, I'll actually do muscle testing in the store where I'll hold okay, with this, or I do this in crystal shops too, where I'll hold it up to me. I'll say, okay, do I need this crystal right now? And I'll get a yes or a no. And it's it is a very helpful tool, but just remember, it is just a tool. Um, and like any tool, sometimes it has hiccups. Uh, but as long as you're hydrated and well grounded, you should get accurate results. Now, I had a situation one time where somebody had asked another person if she was pregnant. And she kept getting told yes, yes, yes. And then she asked me, well, what do you get? And I said, I told her yes. But then um, I asked it a different way. I asked, are you pregnant with a human baby? And I got told no. She was pregnant with an idea. So it's also important about how you ask the question and ask it different ways because you can be pregnant with more than just a baby. So it's important that your question is specific. Um, and generally, pendulums are only used for yes or no questions. So you have to phrase your question as a yes or no. Now, they are making some things like if you wanted to know if your chakras are aligned and balanced, you can go through, is my root chakra aligned and balanced? Is my sacral chakra aligned and balanced? Is my solar plexus aligned and balanced? And you can go up that way. But they also make these sheets and you can get them online. They're like pendulum templates. And they've got like a sheet with different things for root chakra, sacral chakra, um, solar plexus on that. And you can just hold the pendulum like this and see where it's pointing to, I guess, where I said the solar plexus is. So that might indicate that you might need some work there. Um, just trying to think if there's anything, but they're making like so that you can ask things other than a yes or no or yes or no. Um, just trying to think. Do y'all have any questions? You can either unmute yourself or you can put it in the chat, whichever you prefer. Oh, there is. Kelly, what were you talking about? Was it this one? This is actually plastic. It's a pulsar pendulum. Um, so see, yeah, pulsar. But yeah, they can be made of any materials. They can be metallic, they can be plastic, they can have crystals in them. Um, so any other questions? So we talked about, you know, when you're using a pendulum, make sure you're hydrated and grounded. Make sure you are um, using the pendulum for the right purpose. Um, that you ask it if it wants to work with you for a specific purpose. Um, because not all of them will want to work with you for a specific purpose. So you have to find the one that you want. And in fact, I use this to find my pendulum for shamanism because they had this one website that they recommended. And so I just used this one. Okay, would this be the best one for me? Would this one be the best? And then when I got to this one, I got a yes. So that's how you can order one online. Um, So make sure you're using it for the specific purpose for which it was intended or that it wants to work with you on. Um, because some, and it's all energetic. So some energies want to work with you for a particular purpose and other energies don't. Let's see. Make sure you're asking the right questions, make sure it's specific. Remember my question about the pregnancy. You can be pregnant with other things than other than just a pregnancy. You can use this to help you pick out things online, pick out just make sure you're saying, would this be my best and highest good to take this? And you can check dosages, you can check medications. Is this medication working for me? Is it in my highest and best good to take this medication? What dosage should I take? Should I take 5 milligrams? Should I take 10 milligrams? Um, just don't make make sure you don't use this solely to, for your financial advice. Say you wanted to buy a stock and you weren't sure, you use a pendulum. Well, don't just use that because there are so many other factors and you wouldn't want to pick a wrong stock just based on a result from a pendulum. You need to do your research. Um, well, if there's no more questions, I guess that's it. All right, Kelly, what question do you have? And you can either unmute yourself or type it in the chat, whatever you prefer. You're so welcome, Yvette. Your pendulum vibrates. I'm being told that it needs to be cleared, that is an accumulation of different energies, and it's ready to, make sure you um, put it on like selenite or put it under a full moon, um, and make sure you sage it and Palo Santo, or you can also, sound will also clear a pendulum too. So you can ring a bell or play a sound bowl or something like that if you want to. Anything that will clear your energy, you can use to clear a pendulum. Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you for joining me today. I hope you found this helpful, and I will be posting this recording in the various groups, so I don't know where you found this at. Um, but as soon as it's ready, I'm going to be posting it on my YouTube channel as well as the different groups. So thank you for joining me. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you.